It sure has been quite some time since we last saw each other. And let me just tell you, our last encounter was truly a masterpiece. Something to die for. And you're probably asking to yourself right now, is this truly how the story ends? Well, unfortunately, that's not a question I can give an answer to. Not anymore. For this is no longer my world, but his.
Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday!
So, if you couldn't tell, today, at the time this video being posted, is SKITS' birthday. And I wanted to make him a special present because he gave me a birthday present when it was my birthday. Granted, it was a bit late, but it's the thought that counts. He gave me Tales.exe rank, which I quite enjoyed, except for one spot at the very bottom, but you know what, everything else was really good. So I thought I would return the favor with a re-rank of the very first mod in this channel that I ever covered, Mario's Madness. I've wanted this re-rank out for a very long time because I do not like my original Mario's Madness video at all. The entire thing was screen recorded. I stumbled over my words so often. I paused in Golden Land. I didn't even know how to freaking edit stuff, so I ranted the entire 10 minutes of Unbeatable. You couldn't even hear me at the time. You couldn't even hear my all-stars. Anyway, I did eventually decide to come around to re-rank this, again because it was SKITS' birthday. Now, this is going to be a bit different than last time. In addition to the original 28 songs, I am also covering the original 7 songs from V1. Because I figured, why not? It would be fun to do. So, just those 35 I'll be talking about. Nothing else old. No Dictator old, no Party old, no All-Stars old. You get the point. Just those 35. And up first is a song that almost everybody who knows me knew was gonna be in dead last.
I want to die. 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 I want to die.
Alone V1 is in dead last. Literally nobody is surprised. This song is bad. It's not F tier, but for God knows how long it was an F tier. And it's barely scraping out its D tier, and that's because of one melody. Because this song is just really bad. Luigi's voice is so unbelievably groggy. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a frog. Boyfriend sounds off in the song. I can't really describe it in words, but he just sounds wrong. And the instrumental is flat. They're trying to do Luigi's Mansion theme while trying to keep it sad, and that combo just does not work. Something else I don't like about this song is the fact that it feels longer than it is. When I first heard the song, I thought it was like 4 minutes. Much to my shock, I found out it was only like 2.5, which actively shocked me the first time I heard the news. Like, there's no way. In fact, again, the only reason I'm not ranking this one in F tier is because of one decent melody around this section. Like, right here is a okay melody, I guess, but it's not great. This song just, it annoys me, but it doesn't annoy me if it's like a G tier or F tier. It's just it's a very low D tier. It's bad. Everybody knows it's bad.
Don't let the pigeon drive the bus.
Race Traders is a bad song. Nobody should be surprised. There is a lot of problems with this song. Starting off, Boyfriend. He sounds so unbelievably slow and boring in the song, and that actually baffles me. It was similar to his performance in V2. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, it's the exact same performance, and it sounds better somehow. The instrumental is also flat as a pancake. It feels like it never goes anywhere, and that's the best part of the entire song. You know what's not the best part of the entire song? Freaking Mario's voice is so freaking annoying and not fun to listen to. I don't know if that was a good idea, but that person needs to get fired from the team and never see the light of day again, because that is not good. So it's only ranking higher than Alone because at least this instrumental that does something, unlike Alone, which had one good melody and that was it. Power Down is okay, I guess. This is the only C tier of the mod, and I guess it's better than Alone and Race Traders. Granted, not by a ton. This is a pretty meh C tier, but it has some good aspects going to it. The start I quite like the instrumental. It's probably the best part of the entire song. Boyfriend sounds solid for the most part, and there's a couple of melodies that I like, mostly around the beginning. Time for my problems, because we've got a couple. First up is MX's chromatic. It's so unbelievably muffled, it's not even funny. I hate it when mods throw mufflers on loud chromatics. I do not like it when they do that. It makes it just sound fake, and it really bugs me. Also, I know I praised the melodies, but again, only really in the first part. Everything after like the first 4 melodies is kind of just okay, and probably could use a pretty massive touch-up, not gonna lie. I don't have a ton to say on this song. It's a fine enough song, it's not necessarily bad, but I wouldn't necessarily call it good either.
Hello there. Oh no, don't be scared. I'm not gonna kill you. Yes.
Say whatever you want about me. Kill me all you want in the comments section below. But I actually kind of like It's a Me V1. I've never had anything massively against this song either. I guess for a while I didn't like it, but I grew into liking it again. Now, I want to get my biggest problem with it right now. This song's repetitive, but quite a bit. It reminds me of Nightmare Run from Indie Cross, but in a not a very good way. Mario's chromatic is alright. I don't love it in this song. I much prefer his V2 chromatic. This one's solid. The instrumental is very good, though. I do quite like the instrumental, and I could admit, even though the melody is somewhat repetitive, it's not like it's a bad melody. Like, yeah, they could have thrown there a bit less, but it's not god awful. They throw enough original melodies in there. In fact, I actually quite like this one. Now, I can understand the dislike for the song. I can. Again, it's repetitiveness, people not liking Moya's chromatic. But for me, It's a Me V1 has always been something I've actually had a bit of enjoyment for. Paranoia. This song really has not aged well for me at all. I'm sorry, but this is not a very high B tier. This is more like a middle ground B tier nowadays. And you're probably thinking to yourself, but wait, didn't this one S tier last time? Yes, for a while I had this one in S tier, but the more and the more I listened to Paranoia, the more bored I found myself with this song. I don't really feel the same enjoyment that I once did for this song, which is a shame because there's still quite a few things I enjoy about the song. To start, the instrumental's pretty solid the entire way through. There's only like 1 or 2 sections I think it's actually not good, and Mr. Virtual's chromatic is tolerable. It's not great, but it's not bad either. That's not true, it's bad in like 1 section, but we'll get there when we get there. The first section, even recording the original video, I praised this section incredibly. Most of my enjoyment for this section is kind of gone. It's still a good section, don't get me wrong, but I still feel like this section just drags on for a bit too long. It's almost 40% of the song, and that kind of irks me. However, it doesn't nearly irk me as much as Phase 2. So, in the original video, I stated I enjoyed the first turn with Girlfriend / Mr. Virtual. Yeah, I really don't anymore. I don't really enjoy this first turn, and nothing else in this phase has gone better. This phase is kind of bad, not gonna lie, which is a shame because I could see potential in this phase, but it really was not executed well. And then there's phase 3, which, as I've stated in the past, should not have existed. It's literally just 3 boring, generic turns with, like, nothing interesting happen. I can kind of see what they're going for here, but it really does not work in execution. This is supposed to be like a wind down for the big finale, which really, that does not work at all. They should have just cut this phase entirely, or had the Girlfriend phase last longer with notes similar to this one. In fact, the only reason this song is actually ranking above It's a Me V1 is because this ending section would still absolutely pops off. It's just that darn good. But sadly, the rest of the song just does not hold up as well as it used to, and this is the song of those 2 that's shown its age the most. Now, I can understand somebody would love Paranoia. I could, and I do still have some enjoyment in this song. The instrumental's good most of the way through, and I like Mr. Virtual's chromatic, and his ending pops off, but everything else is either just an eh, or it's bad. Like, I'm sorry, but I do not feel the same way I do about Paranoia anymore. It just kind of irks me nowadays. I'm sorry.
What your time?
Apparition V1 is the last of our B tiers. Everything else from this point on is A tier and above, and this one was really close to A tier, but it's got a couple problems. I'm just gonna address them right now. First up, Wario's chromatic is way too echoey, and I really do not care for it. Something else I don't like is Boyfriend's chromatic in the song. It is not used very well. It sounds like it's got a massive echo on it, and I do not like that much at all. But besides the chromatics, I thought the song is pretty good. The instrumental is quite nice, and I think the melodies are pretty solid. I'll get more into them when we get to Apparition V2, but for all you know, Apparition V1's melodies are very solid, and I'm glad they took most of them into Apparition V2. And so what I kind of like is the pause. Again, a lot better in V2, but I think it's pretty solid in this song. Again, the reason it's ranking an A tier is because both chromatics do slightly irk me. They don't annoy me to pieces, like how you should think about Dual Demise and Constricted, but they're not necessarily awful, but they just hold this one back from making any higher than this song possibly could have.
You're too late, Mario. I am now forklift certified.
You know, I remember when Apparition V2 first came out, and the first time I listened to the song, I thought this song was amazing. And then when I went back to rank this mod for the first time, I didn't find it amazing anymore, and I just found it good. And then when I come back to its re-rank, this song has quite gone better, to be honest. Let's go to my positives first. First off, I really like Boyfriend's chromatic in this song. He sounds very solid the entire way through. No problems with his chromatic at all. There's not a single part where I think it sounds bad. And this part right here, where it's just a small instrumental part, and Wario gives the iconic line of, "You want fun, Wario show you fun," is pretty solid. Something else I really like is the instrumental. I think it's handled very well the entire way through. It's not a single part I dislike. So, why is this one not higher? I've got a couple reasons. First up, the big problem, this song is way too short. It's barely over 2 minutes, and that kind of irks me. It's not necessarily awful per se, but it's not great either. Something else I don't like is, it's not like I don't like this chromatic, it's Wario. His chromatic is not ghostly, something that his original chromatic was too much of, and it's kind of annoying they couldn't find a counterbalance. Like, what was the devs thought? Oh, his chromatic was too ghostly this time, let's make it not ghostly at all. That really doesn't work a ton. Granted, it's not awful per se, but those two problems are kind of holding this song back from ranking any higher. Still, a song that has gone better for me, just one I don't see potentially ranking higher in the future.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
I remember a time in late 2022 when I used to adore I Hate You V1. That time has unfortunately passed. But I think the song is still really good. I definitely think it has not aged well. I'll go to my positives. First off, Luigi's chromatic is very nice. Not perfect, but it's a pretty solid chromatic. Boyfriend's chromatic is slightly altered. I don't love it, but it's good. The melodies are pretty solid, mostly on the Luigi side. Again, I don't think Boyfriend's chromatic is doing a big favor for his melodies, but they do still sound pretty nice. My problem comes in instrumental. It feels kind of repetitive for most of the song, and in a couple parts it just feels kind of flat, which is weird because I remember the time I used to love this instrumental, like to pieces, but coming back to it nowadays, I do not see the hype in the instrumental. So yeah, well, I really like this song. It's not perfect and could probably use a few changes in some aspects.
It must be a Mario. He take racing too seriously.
I don't think I have anything new to add about race traders that I didn't already state in the last video. So I'm just gonna do a quick rundown of everything to get this entry out of the way. First off, I really like Mario's chromatic. I think it's handled very well and is much better than his old chromatic. The instrumental is also a lot more high energy, and that's something I quite enjoy. And all the melodies are pretty solid. Again, my problem just comes down to Boyfriend. It wasn't really changed up that much, so it feels like it was made faster, which I guess is a nice improvement, but it's not great because I don't love his chromatic a ton this song. So yeah, nothing's really changed on the song. I guess it was S tier for a while, but it did kind of fall back down to A tier. Sorry, race traders.
You killed my brother. You sons of a...
Abandoned. This one certainly has come a long way, hasn't it? I remember when I had this one in a low B tier, and I mean almost C tier level of B. That time has passed. To start with my positives, I do like Luigi's chromatic quite a bit. I think it's very solid. Not my favorite Luigi chromatic from this mod. We'll get there later, but I think this one's pretty good, and it's better than I Hate You V1's chromatic. The instrumental is very haunting. I can't really put into words of how this instrumental makes me feel besides haunting. I guess if I was to try and explain it, I guess I would probably say that it makes me feel like something's been lost for a long time, and then when you come back to find it, you're shocked on what it's become. And I think that's very nice in a song like Abandoned. I think it makes it sound even better. The melodies are also pretty good. There's nothing I think is necessarily bad, per se, so why isn't this one higher? If I'll be completely real, the middle section, it does not hit for me at all. Like, I think it's fine, but compared to the amazingness that is the first half and the ending section, it really does not carry that much energy, and it kind of saddens me, because this song could have had a lot more going for it, but the middle just kind of tanks. Not saying I hate this song, though, it's still a really good song. I just think it could have been higher if it wasn't for its poor middle.
Not even close.
First, of course, is Mario, who will be played by Chris Pratt.
It's a me, a Mario.
So cool. We start off with Regular Idols, and this song is really good. In fact, one could almost call it so cool. Dumb joke aside, this song is really good. The instrumental is super jazzy, and I can't help but dance to it at times. Most of the melodies are pretty good. There's like one or two I'm not the biggest fan of, but personally, I don't mind because most of those are just a banger. Now, if I have a problem, I think it's Chris Pratt's vocals. I don't know why, but they just sound off at some parts, and I can't really explain it all that well, but I don't love how his vocals sound, and if I'm honest, they're one of the weaker chromatics from the mod, which is unfortunately a shame because I do kind of like it. This section right here is also pretty nice with the instrumental switch up. Granted, I don't love the instrumental switch up, but I think it's pretty nice, and the melodies do change up to something a bit fresh, and that's pretty nice. So yeah, this song's really good. I just don't really feel like ranking any higher because the remaining 25 we have left are just better by quite a bit.
It's a me, a Mario.
Oh man, I love Mario singing Game Rhythm 9! Oh, it's so good! Hey everyone, I'm Baxter, and today I'm taking Eternal's spot to talk about Mario singing Game Rhythm 9. This is my absolute favorite of Mario's Madness. And it's not that close, aside from maybe the MV2. But man, I just love this song so much. This instrumental is just amazing. It's such a good use of the Genesis instruments. And it's just such an absolute groove. I can just dance to it all day. And the vocals. Oh man. Boyfriend sounds great. His chromatic fits actually pretty well considering he's a Pokemon. And it just sounds really good. And Samari, great. Just amazing. He sounds like Mario, but there's also like this little bit of like cockiness to his voice, like you'd see like Unleashed or Generations or Colors, and it just works so well with like Mario and this like tint of like Sonic to it. It just I love it. And the chromatics, the melodies, there's just so much energy to it all. Oh, and especially the melodies like the it's there's just so much fun energy to the song. Yeah, this is easily my favorite from Mario's Madness.
Okay, Axel, your turn's over. Now it's my turn to talk why this song isn't any higher than number 1, even though you absolutely love the song to pieces. I've got a few problems that still reside in my original video. First off, I don't like Pika Friend's chromatic a ton. Yeah, I get the point, but it doesn't mean I have to like it a ton. And problem number 2, the song starts and stops way too much. It does it 3 times. You know, the first time, that kind of makes sense. But the second time, they just go like, nope, we're gonna do a pause now, and that slightly irritates me. By a lot. Granted, the melodies are still a banger, and I do quite enjoy the instrumental. As a Sonic fan, I can just vibe to it for days. And this is a really good song, and it's really close to S tier, and maybe will be S tier by the time this video comes out. But for now, I don't see myself putting a song any higher than a really, really high A tier.
Smoking.
No, Mario, I'm not gonna tell.
Yeah, you better not, or I'll kick your ass. Anyway, just keep your mouth shut, squirt. Here come the guys. Hey.
You know, after months of listening to this song, I was hoping that Day Out could maybe regain its S tier in time for this video to come out, but I'll be completely honest, this one's really close. It might be the highest A tier I've ever ranked, but it's not S tier. I'm sorry, I'll explain why at the end, but for right now, I've got a few positives to run through. First up, Mario's chromatic is very good. It's a bit unique of the Mario chromatics, but I think it's pretty solid. The instrumental is very jazz vibed, kind of like Dictator, which is a very good instrumental, and I like it quite a bit. Luigi's vocals are okay. I don't love when Luigi sings, and he's part of the problem why the song is not ranking higher for me. I don't love Luigi's vocals, but it's not huge. Boyfriend sounds pretty solid. I like how he sounds for the most part. No part I actually dislike him, but he doesn't quite hit as incredible as Mario does. The melodies are all pretty solid. I like all of them. So, why is this song not an S tier? It really bugs me, but I just don't know if this one carries the same energy as it did in the past, and it's grown kind of old. Plus, the fact the melodies are just really good. Nothing's amazing, but nothing's necessarily bad either. And when the melodies aren't necessarily amazing, and nothing else is really amazing, or something is amazing but it's got a problem, I can't put a song in S tier. Like, it's tricky because I want to put this one S tier, but at the same time, I know I cannot put this one S tier because it has too many problems to rank any higher than a very high A tier. Although, maybe someday this won't become S tier again.
Whatever game you're playing, it won't work. You can't defeat me.
Before we begin, I want to apologize for ranting the entire 10 plus minutes of Unbeatable last time. I promise you, I will not do that again this time. This will be a lot shorter. Okay, so let's start talking about Unbeatable. This song has fallen from S tier and is now a very high A tier, and yeah, it's due to a couple of reasons. Nothing in the first half though. I still think the first half is genuinely incredible the entire way through. Mr. SYS's chromatic is not the best chromatic in the song, but it's probably the most consistent chromatic. I think it's very solid, and I think they use the tonals well enough in this section. However, I'm just gonna say it, in every phase, I'm not huge on the tonals because they just get really, really repetitive, and that gets really, really annoying. Really, really fast, not gonna lie. Yeah, we know you're Nintendo. Yeah, we know we can't beat you. Will you shut up already? That being said, the ending of Phase 1, it still slaps. It's still really, really darn good, and is probably the best intro to any long song that I think I've ever heard in my life. Like, not even a question. But most of what Phase 1 led up to is thrown away in Phase 2 because I really do not like Phase 2 anymore. I'm sorry, this phase has very, very, very heavily fallen off for me, and I'm not gonna take that back because I have a lot of problems with this phase. First up, I don't like Duck Hunt's chromatic much at all. I'm sorry, it's probably the weakest chromatic in the entire song by a pretty good margin, not gonna lie, and I'm not huge on his tonals either, and this is where my problem from earlier comes in. It's just you cannot beat us for the entire time, it feels like, and that just gets so freaking repetitive. Will you shut up with that? It gets really, really annoying. That's not my worst problem though. This phase is paced so poorly. Sometimes I think it's 4 minutes long, but it's only like 2.5. It just feels like it drags on for so long. It should be like maybe 1.5 minutes, not freaking 2.5. It's ridiculous. Granted, the instrumental is still good in this section. It's actually quite nice, and the ending melody is fine, I guess. It's not great, but it's fine. And then there's Phase 3. Phase 3 is one of the most hated on phases in this song. You know what, I can kind of see that. I think this phase is actually good. It's not great or anything. Like, it's not better than Mr. SYS's phase, but it's definitely better than Duck Hunt's phase by quite a bit. Bowser's chromatic is solid. However, this phase also kind of uses the tonals way too much in Bowser's vocals, and I'm really not huge on that. Like, it's granted for a while, and I guess it does switch up often enough, but most of the time it just is, again, repetitive as all hell. Which, why was this song 10 minutes? It should have been like 7. It bugs me to pieces. There is some good in this phase. The instrumental is probably at its best in the entire song, maybe besides Phase 4, but even then, I place instrumental by quite a good margin. And this part here is really good. It's probably one of, if not my favorite parts in the entire song, because I think it's cool exploring all the references from past video games, I think that's very nice, and it works very well in a character like Bowser. So while this phase is good, it could probably use a few alterations, mostly in Bowser's the tonals, mostly like You Cannot Beat Us, which gets very annoying very quickly, not gonna lie. Then we get into the little transition between Phase 3 and Phase 4. Nothing much to say here, it's pretty solid, but it's not amazing, it does its job well. And then we have this part with 5 different voices saying You Cannot Beat Us, and then Phase 4 begins. Phase 4 has unfortunately fallen off a bit for me. Is it as bad as Duck Hunt's phase? No, it's not as bad as Duck Hunt's phase, but it's not beating out Phase 1's phase, like, at all. Yeah, the tunnels are still somewhat annoying here. They're not nearly as bad because it's all 3 versions and not just one version the entire way through, which that would have made this phase much worse. Don't get me wrong, I probably would have hated Phase 4 if they just did that. But they don't, and I can respect that by quite a good deal. The instrumental is probably at its, I wouldn't say its best, but it's pretty solid here. However, sometimes the tunnels can still get repetitive, which is a problem, because the song is 10 minutes. Why was it 10 minutes? Look, I like Unbeatable. I like it a lot. It has some very high highs. However, it has too many negatives for me to call this one an S tier again. And you know what? Maybe someday it'll become S tier again. But for where it stands, I don't see myself putting Unbeatable any higher than number 22. Look, I'm sorry, I like this song, but there are better options. Bad Day. This is the first of our giant list of S tiers. And you know what, this song is definitely a lot better than I gave it credit for last time. This one's just amazing all the way around. To start off with, Bad Mario's chromatic is probably the best sounding Mario chromatic out there in terms of how well it mimics Mario. It's not the best chromatic from the mod. No, definitely not. But it is still a really, really good chromatic. The instrumental is also very nice. No problems with that. It just sounds super jazzy the entire way through, and I'm dancing to it in my seat. That's how good it is. The melodies are all very, very good. Mostly. Yeah, I gotta admit, I think the song kind of used up too much energy in the first half. They bring it back well enough in the ending, but I feel like some parts in the middle aren't the greatest sounding, henceforth why the song isn't ranking any higher than 22nd, but it's still an amazing song. Don't get me wrong, I always enjoy vibing to this song. I just don't think it's perfect.
do I do? You look ridiculous.
Power Down is a song that has grown and fallen for me. What do I mean by that? I mean this. This one's lost a bit of its placement, but it has grown to be an S tier. For a couple good reasons. For one, I don't really hate this intro anymore. I actually quite enjoy it nowadays. Do I still think MX's disguised voice could have been a little better at parts? Yeah, I do. But it's not necessarily bad per se. I just think it could have used a tweak or two. And the instrumental is really good in that section. And then the big boy reveals himself, and this is where the song finally starts hyping up. Most of my problems from Power Down V1 are thrown away here because this is perfection. Almost. It's almost perfection. But I still got some more positives to run through. First off, MX's new chromatic is very good. It's actually very intimidating because look at this man. He's like, what, 15, 20 feet tall? The dude's freaking terrifying, and his chromatic fits very well. The instrumental is very danger themed, which I quite like. And all the melodies are, they're bangers. Not even a question. So, why am I not ranking it higher? You remember what I said in Rapland from Inferno about they're throwing in too many sound effects? Similar problem here. Too many sound effects. Plus, again, the fact that I don't adore MX's chromatic in the Faker section. It's not bad, again. I think both things are semi-solid, but they do kind of throw the song away from ranking any higher than 20th. And while I do really like this song, it's definitely grown me since last time. I think it just could have used a few tweaks.
Probably try to forcefully stuff you inside a Freddy Fazbear suit.
Well, we've reached the end. Video's over. We can all go home. Yep, that's all from me. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. We've still got a lot of songs left. We're not even halfway done. But yeah, no. I love the end. What is one else? I beat you! What the heck was I thinking? Oh wait, I was using old tears last time. Anyway, this song is a banger. The opening few turns are just fire incarnate. It's like if you took a furnace and you kept it burning with like 100 slugmas inside. It's that freaking good. Costume's chromatic is very nice. I like to look at distorted and muffled Mario's chromatic. Kind of reminds me of MX's old chromatic, but a lot better. And even though the song does slightly die down for those first few turns, I don't mind that, because I think constant intensity probably would have made this song a lot worse, and I probably would have disliked this one a lot more. Granted, if I didn't have problems with the song, I think it's a little too short. It's barely over 2 minutes long, and everything else in Classified Castles is over 2.5, so why was this not longer? And I'm kind of sad they didn't use Kenny L's version, of the V2 version of it, because that song probably would have ranked in the top 15, not gonna lie. I won't say ranked any higher than that, but it definitely would have ranked a little bit higher than V1. So yeah, this song is amazing. It just wasn't beating anything else out, because even though I love this one, there were just better options at the end of the day.
joke isn't funny, I'm hitting you in the head with the pan.
Deal.
You're so pretty, mamma mia.
Overdue is a song that I was way too harsh on last time I was ranking this mod, and I mean that. I was way too harsh. I was focused too much on Pico and on any other aspects of the song, and that was not really a smart move on my part. Let's run through everything I like about this song so I get to my small, well, I don't really call it a gripe, more of an annoyance. First off, I really like Mr. L's vocals, both in his faker form and in his lengthy form. I kind of like how they feel like ghostly and distorted, which makes sense because of what Mr. L is. A distorted spirit that is haunting the world after his brother accidentally killed him. The instrumental also gives out incredible orchestral vibes, like, most of the way through, not gonna lie, and I really like it. And some of Mr. L's melodies are just really good. I love the dude's whole notes. They just sound really good, and most of his melodies are whole notes, too. And now it's time for my semi-problem with the song. Pico. In my original video, I complained that he wasn't freestyling. That somewhat applies here, granted to a much lesser scale, because when you have an opponent that likes to do hold notes a ton, and Pico doesn't do hold notes very often, if not at all, it's actually not a big problem that Pico's not freestyling. Granted, it's still a small gripe, hence why a song isn't ranking higher. And this one and the end do constantly fight for which is higher, similar to Home and Markov from Doki Doki Takeover. But after a lot of listens, I did end up choosing Overdue, solely because I just think Overdue has higher highs than the end did. Also, this part here is super cool with all the hold notes that Mr. L does, and Mario showing up. Mario Pro is the best chromatic in his entire song. It's only a shame it doesn't last for more than 2 turns. I wish it lasted a little bit longer, but you live with what you live with. And then, as Mario slowly fades away, Pico starts running, and yeah, this part is amazing. It's handled so well, and I'm glad Pico's finally freestyling again. God, I love Overdue so much. It's not my favorite thing anymore, but it does have a lot of really high highs. Granted, Pico does level this one back from making any higher, but you know what? It's better than Man of the Internet's Overdue cover, which isn't saying much, but yeah, this song is just, it's amazing, and I love it.
So who's ready for the new release? Somebody's never coming out.
I don't know what's funnier. The fact that a V1 song got this high on the list, or the fact that a V1 song is beating out a lot of popular songs like Paranoia and Unbeatable. But I guess that's what happens when Golden Land has aged very well for me. Like, very, very well. I love this song quite a bit. The first half is very calm and soothing, and I really, really like it. And then GB reveals himself, and the song just gets somehow even freaking better. It just turns a really good song into an amazing song. His melodies are super well done, and I love the instrumental. Now, I do have a problem with his chromatic. I think it's too loud, and almost everybody I know can agree with me on this to at least some degree. There are parts where GB's too loud and he's drowning out Boyfriend. But you know what? That's not a massive problem. That's not 24/7 that he's drowning out Boyfriend or they duet. So I'm going to give it a small exception. And besides that small issue, there's no other problems with the song. The song is just, it's amazing. I just can't put any higher because of that small issue. I don't really have a ton of things to say about I Hate You V2 that weren't already true about I Hate You V1 or anything I specified in my last video about this mod. Yeah, I really like Luigi's chromatic. I love the instrumental and how Mario World it is. And I think all the melodies are banger. They're mostly taken from V1, and I love V1's melodies. So, the reason this wasn't higher is because it's too short. It's barely over 2 minutes, and I want a little bit more from the song. This one's like 3 minutes. I could probably have it higher. Also, something else I want to add, I've heard the V3 would not rank as high. I am not the biggest fan of the V3. I think it's solid enough, but it has a few too many problems.
Paisanos, it's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show!
Promotion. This one's definitely gotten its upgrade, as well as almost everything I had in B tier last time, not gonna lie. Yeah, I've actually got a bit of a funny story to tell you guys. So when I was going back to look at my old video, just to see if there's anything I might have missed, I noticed that my old thoughts for motion were basically the exact same as Neo's, and that's really funny, not gonna lie. Kind of funny. But yeah, I don't really think that way a ton anymore. Like, I think about some things, but quite a bit of this one's changed for me. Like, I do still really like Mario's chromatic. I still think it's used very well, and it's a really good normal Mario chromatic. Not my favorite normal Mario chromatic. I still think the one Bad Day was better. Granted, not by a ton, but it was just better. The instrumental is very nice in the first half, especially in this melancholy part here. I don't know if I'd call this my favorite part, but it's very, very well done, and the melodies of the first half are also very good. And then there's the second half, and this is where my problems were last time. I didn't like how fast-paced and messy they were, and I didn't like how Stanley's chromatic was just Mario's chromatic. I don't really dislike that anymore. I actually think those are two very good things. I think the quicker melodies work in the state that Stanley is in, and I don't particularly hate that his chromatic is just Mario's, because he is possessing Mario's chromatic, which, you know, I kind of think Doki Doki Takeover for this, because it made me like Senpai's chromatic more, and Senpai and Spirit have the exact same thing as Stanley and Mario, so yeah, I appreciate this one a bit more. No problems here, I just don't really think I'm wanting higher, because even though the remaining 14, you know, a couple of them have problems, their highs are just much higher.
thought to have some fun with you two midgets before I end your lives.
You guys knew that if It's a Me V1 was gonna rank high, then It's a Me V2 would rank even higher. This song I did not nearly give enough credit to last time. This is amazing! What was I thinking having this one in A tier last time? There's so much to love here. For one, the instrumental is super rock themed, and it really gives you this vibe of you're in trouble, like a lot of it. And you know why? It's Mario. His chromatic really gives off that ominous tone, the tone of fury, the tone of anger, but yet also happiness, because he knows that he will get boyfriend and girlfriend no matter what. The melodies, they all slap. There's not a single melody that I do not like. Everything is, I'll say right now, the melodies are all incredible in this song. But all those three things combined were nothing compared to this ending. This ending slaps so freaking hard. Mario has had enough and he is going to end this, and you can just hear the scared tone in Boyfriend's voice, because you can just tell that even though he's faced so many dangers, he's never fought a danger like this one. Not one that's actually made him scared. And it's portrayed so well, and his vocals. And everything else just gets better. The instrumental ramps up, the melodies ramp up. In fact, the only reason I'm not ranking this one higher is because even though I love this song, the last 30 seconds of it just unfortunately do not hit as hard as they used to. But still, I love It's a Me V2. It is such an upgrade over V1, and this song is just amazing. Not quite perfect, but so close.
You alright? How you doing today? Please don't eat me! Please don't eat me! We're gonna kill you! Bye!
Last Course. The song that has probably gotten the best glow up since last time. Words cannot describe how angry I was when I saw my old thoughts on this song. I was thinking to myself, why was I thinking this? That's not true. Well, for the most part, it's not true. I do want to address my slight issue with this song. I'm still not huge on Turmoil's chromatic. I think it's pretty good, but I just feel like it's not the greatest thing ever. Like, it's still a really good chromatic, don't get me wrong, I love it, but it could use a bit more polish. And compared to Galoomba Boyfriend, it's not even a question of my prefer. Easily Galoomba Boyfriend. Everything else, though, is either amazing or incredible. The melodies are all amazing. I was being way too whiny about the lack of a good pop-off last time. And the instrumental, top 3 of the mod. I'm not even kidding. I love the forest vibe here. It is just perfect. It is so chilling and haunting. It's like Dark Forest instrumental, but somehow even better. I love this song. Well, I don't think it's perfect, solely because I wish Turmoil had a slightly better chromatic. I do love this song so freaking much, and I want to apologize for putting it as low as I did last time. I don't know what the heck I was thinking. Actually, I was just ripping off a lot of Neo's opinions, and again, I apologize for that.
Check it out.
Nourishing Blood rocks. This song is so freaking good. I have so many things to talk about this one because I didn't get a chance to talk about it last time because Indie Skits took over. So now I can just give a full rant on how much I love this song. First up, both sets of chromatics are genuinely incredible. Easily best use the boyfriend right here that I think I've ever heard from this mod, and it's really not even a question. Granddad also sounds incredible. Thank God they're not using his chromatic from Mario's Monday Night Massacre, or we would be having problems. I'm looking at you, grand old time. I don't like you. I love this song. Oh, I love this song's melodies. Even though they're taken, a couple of them are taken from other songs, they do still slap so freaking hard. They're just so freaking good, and they're incredible. So why is this one not higher? I have one tiny problem with the instrumental. Right here. It just says peanut butter jelly time, and that gets really annoying, not gonna lie. I don't like it at all, and I kinda wanna skip this part, and I can't put a song higher if I wanna skip a part of it, unless the rest of the song has one that's absolutely mind-blowing, and well, I think everything's incredible. Nothing's absolutely mind-blowing, except, again, the chromatics. So, yeah, well, I love Nourishing Blood. I think that one part of the instrumental held it back a little bit too much. But even then, this is probably the best joke song that we've gotten in Friday Night Funkin'. Maybe besides ERB from Doki Doki Takeover, but even then, I still think this one's slightly better. I was too harsh this one last time. I'm just gonna say it. This song is amazing, but just not quite incredible.
Oh, run! Run! I'm coming for you!
I remember when this mod first came out, and there was a lot of conflict about Demise. A lot of people liked the song because it felt like a really good chase song. And on the other side, a lot of people hated it because it just felt like spam most of the way through. I can kind of see the negatives for the song, but for me, spam doesn't necessarily bother me if it's got good melodies going for it and has lots of things I like. Obliterated from QT Overworked and Rivals from Tales.exe are probably the two best examples of that. And while Demise doesn't hold up as well as those two, I do still think Demise is amazing in all of its aspects. For one, as I said back in Power Down, I really like MX's chromatic. I think it works very well in this song. There are a few parts where I think it could have been a little better, but it's not that bad. I think it works quite well. The instrumental is very chase themed, and I think works. In fact, this is probably one of the best chase instrumentals I think I've heard in my entire life. Maybe there's something better, but for right now, I can't think of anything better off the top of my head. It just is that good, and the melodies work very well. Yeah, some of them feel like spam, but again, spam doesn't really bother me unless it's something that actually ticks me off. Like everything from Dave and Bambi. No bad mods, no bad mods. It works. And then there's the underground section. A lot of people hate this section. I don't. I actually quite like it. Even back in the past where I tried to tell myself I didn't like this, I liked it too much. It's just really, really good. So you're probably asking yourself, how has this song fallen as hard as it has? Well, it's kind of hard to explain because nothing really bugs me about this song anymore, but I just think the remaining 10 songs that we have left are just better at the end of the day. Like, it's really hard to choose between the last 11 songs, but Demise unfortunately had to be here. And again, I know a lot of people like Demise, and I'm not saying I hate this song. I still think this song is amazing, but I just don't see myself putting any higher than where it is.
Security! Security! You took everything away from me!
Hi everyone, I'm Cassie, Sailor Mercury's friend, and he invited me here to talk about No Party, one of my favorite songs from FNF Mario's Madness. And even though I don't like Mario's Madness as much as I used to, I still think it's pretty good. And No Party is no different. This song is amazing. It really does feel like something that would be based off a Mario Party Anti-Piracy. Because Halle Blue sounds amazing. I love that Juno is the one who voiced DJ Halle Blue, and the chromatic itself is great. BF sounds decent. He doesn't sound amazing. He's definitely the weakest part of this song for me. And of course, the melodies here are just amazing, and the instrumental perfectly captures every moment of the song, because the instrumental's constantly changing. It doesn't ever stay in one spot for long. And I think the mechanic here is very, very well done. A perfect reference to the original Host Hoedown, where you have to trace the apologies before you get attacked. And I'm glad they removed the cheese for it, where you just scribble all over. so you actually have to try for it. And this section sounds amazing, like genuinely. The guitars here make it sound so damn good. And this thing is, this song feels like it genuinely feels Mario Party like. The notes themselves also just fit the Mario Party DS style. Anyways, I'll play my favorite part and then send this back to your host, Sailor Mercury.
I don't care what you guys have to say about me about this. I don't care if you unsubscribe and never watch my channel again. I am not going to take having no hope in my top 10 back. I'm just not. I really like this song. For one, I adore Devil Mario's chromatic. It's actually now my favorite chromatic in the entire mod. I know it was third favorite last time, but it's now my favorite in the mod, and it's really not even a question these days. The instrumental is very final boss themed, and I love it when instrumentals do that, especially in something like Broken Reality. That sounded really good, but I'll get more on that when we get to Dustin's video. The melodies are all bangers in the first half. In fact, everything in the first half is genuinely incredible. And now, I understand a lot of people don't like the second half because it just feels like a massive wind down. I don't really hate that. In fact, I think that actually works quite a bit and makes me enjoy this. Granted, the second half's only amazing and not as incredible as the first half is, but the melodies are still really good, and I like the instrumental, and again, Devil Mario's chromatic is my favorite in the mod, and it's really not a question these days. So yeah, I really love this song, and I don't care if anybody hates this opinion, because so many people hate No Hope. Remember, I'm the guy who had the last Phobia in second place on my original video, so don't judge me here.
And I'm going to steal your favorite pet turtle and stomp on it in front of you to teach you a lesson about how to be a man. And no matter how many turtles you go on to murder, I will never love or respect you enough to call you anything other than Green Mario. And if you step out of line, I will stand over your bed with a hammer so it's the first thing you see when you wake up.
Why does Oh God No have to slap as hard as it freaking does? Also, little disclaimer, we're in the SS's now. Yes, Oh God No is my first SS. And you're probably thinking to yourself, wait, did you just rank a lot lower last time because that was too messy? Yeah, I used to think this song was a bit messy. I really don't anymore. In fact, this song is genuinely perfect. For one, I love both Mario and Luigi's chromatics. Luigi has the better of the two by quite a bit, but Mario's chromatic is still very good. I also love the instrumental. I love how argument-themed it is, while also having that Mario tone, which is something that a lot of instrumentals don't really tend to do in the FNF community. They just tend to take more of an argument tone, not try and focus on the theme of the character, and I like that this song does that. The melodies are all very, very, very good, especially right here. This is probably my favorite part in the entire song, maybe besides one other, but I mean, come on, this song's incredible. You can't blame me at all, can you? However, I don't feel like ranking this song any higher because, while I like this song, I just think the remaining 7 had a little something extra going for them that this song unfortunately lacks, and that very much so saddens me. And I wish this song was just a little bit, I can't really put into words, I just wish it just had something else in it besides the hidden lyrics. But still, I love Oh God No by quite a bit, and I was too harsh on the song last time. It is really that incredible. All Stars. This song has gotten so much better since last time, and it's really not even a question that this one's an SS anymore. I guess it was a bit of doubt in the past, but nowadays this is a guaranteed SS. There is so much I love about this song. Starting off with Phase 1. This phase is genuinely incredible. It's perfect in every aspect. Ultra M sounds so freaking good, and so does Girlfriend. I love her chromatic. Is it better than the one Infernal Bout and Doki Doki Takeover? No, but it's still an incredible chromatic. The instrumental just gives off finale vibes, and I love that so much. There's not a single melody I don't hate either. Everything about Phase 1 is just perfection. Then we get into Phase 2. Phase 2 starts us off with Omega, and I'm kind of sad that Phase 2 is getting a redo, but again, Sandy's actions have unfortunately caused that. That's not saying I hate Phase 2 or anything. No, I still think it's an incredible phase. Omega's chromatic is very, very good. I don't think it's better than Ultra M's chromatic, but it's near that same level. The instrumental also just gets somehow even better. And I love it's just a constant duet for the last few turns between Boyfriend and Omega. It just sounds really, really, really darn good. And as Omega takes his final bow before turning into goo, the 3 Devil Tears show up. LG is really good. I love how his chromatic sounds. War is just as good, but they are nothing compared to Yosh. I love Yosh's chromatic. It is one of my favorites from the mod. It's not better than Devil Mario's, but it's easily top 5 chromatics of this mod, and it's not even a question. And I love it when these 3 triad. It just sounds so freaking good. This second phase is so freaking good. I can't say more. It's just that darn good. And then we get into Phase 3. Phase 3 is the most hated on phase in this entire song. And yes, while it is my least favorite phase, it is still amazing. GX's chromatic is very, very good. I already loved Girlfriend's chromatic, and GX is like a slightly weaker version, but it's still incredible. And I love how distraught Boyfriend sounds. He's losing hope because the one that he's always fought for is gone now, so is there any reason why he should continue fighting? That's what the instrumental feels like to me, and just all the melodies too. Again, you can feel the agony in both him and GX's vocals. And then we get into the lyrics. I know I dislike these lyrics in the past because they are more like background lyrics and not like full-on lyrics, but background lyrics aren't really a bad thing. I do still like them, but I don't really feel like the lyrics are worth giving an extra point to, because they aren't that's absolutely mind-blowing. They're just really darn good. But don't worry, the lyrics will return in Phase 4, and they will sound a bunch better. Like, I really like Act 3. I don't know what to say in this act, or the fact it's really overhated. And when I say really overhated, I mean really overhated. I don't get the hate for this act at all. Well, I guess besides GX's chromatic, but that's that. And then we get into Act 4. Act 4 is genuinely perfection incarnate. Ultra M somehow sounds even better than he did in Act 1, and Boyfriend is like, no, I've had enough of you, you little piece of shit. You killed my girlfriend. I'm gonna freaking kill you now to avenge her. And he just pops off in this last ending section. It just sounds so freaking good. In the instrumental, it's handled so well as long as the melodies. And then there's the mimics. The mimics are all pretty solid. I think listening to the song enough times, I can get a clear view on every mimic that's being portrayed in the background. Would I have liked if it was a complete takeover of the voice? I kind of would have preferred that, but this is not bad at all, and I think it works very, very well. And then we have this little mourning section. Boyfriend questions himself. Questions if he should even go on because the love of his life is gone. But then he realizes, no, I will fight for her. I will fight for the woman that I love. Even though she is dead, I will make sure her memory lives on, and I will kill this faker. And he just abso-freaking-lutely pops off in this final section. This section is genuinely perfect. perfection incarnate. The only reason this song is not ranking any higher for me is because as much as I like GX's face, it's not incredible, but still, this is a perfect finale. It's just not the best finale I've ever heard on FNF, but still, I love All Stars.
We are the Mistful Phantom Choir. Oh, can you feel the wrath of Bruce Findire?
Alone V2 has unfortunately slightly fallen off for me. From being once in the top 3 to now not even being in the top 5. Now, something I don't like this song. No, I still do quite enjoy this song. And there's a lot of positives to this song. For one, I love how Beta Luigi sounds. It just sounds so good. He sounds so saddened and almost monotone in a way, and that actually works really well here. I also love Ghost Boyfriend's chromatic. It's one of my favorite boyfriend chromatics out there to exist, and that's not even a question. It just sounds really, really darn good. All the references from Luigi's Mansion are also very nice. Whether it be Luigi's humming, boyfriend hanging, the mansion in the background, so many references. And they're all just super cool, and I love all of them. And the instrumental is very good. It really gives off this vibe that you've lost, and you're just waiting, sitting there on a dark, stormy night. And I love how that makes me feel. Bone-chilling instrumentals are one of my favorite things in FNF. So, how has this song fallen from 3rd place if I love this song as much as I do? It's kind of hard to explain, to be honest, because I don't have anything else with this song, but you guys remember Home from my Doki Doki Takeover video? Similar case there. I just think the remaining 5 songs are just better by quite a bit. And again, this was very difficult, I would say. It was incredibly difficult to choose from these top 8. But something had to be here, and unfortunately, it was gonna have to be Alone. Something else about the song I really like, though, before we end this entry off, is how much I love the lyrics. I love how Mario sounds. He just sounds so good because he's dead. It's not really Mario. It's just a fake one that Luigi's thinking of, and that really tugs at the heartstrings. But as much as the song tugs at the heartstrings, I couldn't rank it any higher.
Halloween? Oh, you gotta be joking! We should be able to make it this time. We almost have everything done, and what if you don't?
Is it a guilty pleasure that I have Golden Land in my top 5? Yes. Yes, it is. Do I care? No. Because this is basically just Golden Land V1 if you literally improved on everything that was already good. I mean that. For starters, on what I love, this intro is very nice. It's like Power Down's intro, but like a ton better. And then this whole note section happens, and GB reveals himself, and ho boy, do I love his chromatic. It just sounds so good, which is strange because I don't usually love pixelated chromatics. Thanks, senpai. But I think this one works really well, and to my own shock, so does Boyfriend. I love how his chromatic sounds in this song. The instrumental is also incredibly high energy for basically the entire way through the second part, and I can't help but just love it. And the melodies are slightly changed from V1, but V1 already had such fire melodies that not much change was needed. Like, this song is incredible. I don't know what else to say. It's just perfect in every aspect. Dark Forest rocks! This song is so freaking good. Although it hasn't moved from position as number 4, it has risen up to a damn high SS. I love every aspect of this freaking song. And I'm gonna go over everything I love about the song. Start off with the King's chromatic. It's so freaking good. I love how it just feels like backing vocals for Boyfriend, who just absolutely pops off in this song. His chromatic is, I wouldn't call it the best usage, but it's easily top 3 usages right here of Boyfriend's chromatic in this mod. The instrumental is also incredibly chaotic, and I love that, because this is the chaotic ending of Coronation Day, and if your instrumental doesn't fit, it probably isn't gonna sound the greatest in a tone like Dark Forest takes. The last little voice line is pretty neat. It doesn't take away from the song at all, and it doesn't feel like a clash or anything, so that's pretty good. And the melodies just rock around the second half. They already slapped in the first half, but they rock in the second half. So why is the song not higher? Similar to my old thoughts on Your Demise, as much as I like this song, I just feel like the top 3 were a tad bit better. Again, not by much. This was incredibly difficult to rank these top 4, but something had to be in 4th place, and unfortunately, it was Dark Forest. But still, I love Dark Forest so much. I don't care what anybody says. Pink Forest is not better than Dark Forest. Don't try and tell me it is. Oh god, I just love this song so much.
Tonight, on Secret Histories, we reveal the shocking truth about the man behind the mustache and his ongoing reign of terror.
We did what you said, Mario. The Kickstarter sucked. The team's done.
The game wasn't much popular than people thought, boyfriend. You think I don't know about the merchandise? You tried to me.
Okay, now before everybody comes at me with spears and axes and tanks, Dictator's still in the top 3. I still love this song to pieces, but it just was not beating out my top 2, like, ever. Because listen, I don't love this song. I love this song to pieces, and it has so many good elements to it. To start off, I love Secret Histories Mario's chromatic. I think it's very good. It's not my favorite chromatic in the mod, but it's definitely maybe top 5. I don't actually know off the top of my head, but it's definitely top 5. And the melodies, they just slap. There is not a single melody I think is bad. And one little fun little fact about this song, in a tiny aspect before the little wait section, there's some in the background saying, oh shit, and that's kind of hard to notice, but once you hear it, you can't unhear, and that's just really cool. Speaking of really cool, this pop-off section right here freaking slaps. This is one of the best pop-offs I think I've ever heard in an FNF song, and don't you dare tell me otherwise. That's all about the song. It's got a banging instrumental. It's just filled with jazz and mafia vibes, and like you're scared, and it just sounds so freaking good. And then this final turn where Mario gives Boyfriend one last chance to try and change his mind. But you all know this. Dictator Mario was not one to change his mind. If one person in his company betrays him, he will destroy that person. And that's what this song just feels like to me. It feels like it's the end of the road and you're terrified. And I love that about Dictator. It's not my favorite in the mod, and I don't think it ever will be. But for now, I can say it's very confidently in my top 3. Due to a last second change up, I decided I was gonna talk about all the remaining old songs because why not? And first up is Forbidden Star. This song is incredibly overhated. I actually think it's somewhat good. Like, the melodies are pretty alright for the most part. Nothing I despise, but nothing I absolutely adore either. The duets are pretty catchy, I'll give it that much. And I quite like how Wario sounds in this song. I also kinda like Boyfriend's chromatic. I wish it had more of a scared tone to it, but it's not necessarily bad per se. I'm kinda struggling to find something here. I don't really have a ton to say about Forbidden Star. It's a okay enough song, but if I have any one criticism, I kind of think it's too long. I feel like it should have ended at like the 1 minute 15 mark. That it really doesn't. So I guess C tier.
We did what you said, Mario. The Kickstarter sucked. The team's done.
The game wasn't much popular than people thought, boyfriend. You think I don't know about the merchandise? You tried to fuck me.
Dictator Old is basically just the Dictator we have, but if you cut out the last 40 seconds and gave it a slightly weaker instrumental. When I say slightly, I mean slightly. Like, Alex instrumental, but it really could have been a little bit better. But still, everything else for the song is a banger. I still love Studio Street's Mario's chromatic, and I love how Boyfriend sounds here. And again, the melodies pop off. They're a bit weaker than the better instrumental backing it up, but you know what? That's not necessarily a bad thing. And I do still love the pop-off at the end. I just wish there was a bit more to this song. They didn't scrap the ending. So, S tier. Maybe S+, no, S tier. No Party Old is kind of like the opposite of Dictator Old. It's a completely different vibe than the current No Party that we have. I guess that's saying a lot, considering No Party was actually made by the guy who made DJ Halibut in the first place, and you can tell the dude wasn't completely the greatest at making F&F songs. It's not necessarily bad, I do still enjoy this song, but I gotta admit, I'm not huge on a ton of the melodies here. Well, I do love everything else about the song. I love how Boyfriend sounds, for one. It just sounds really good, and I love how DJ Halibut sounds. I think his first performance in the current No Party that we have, but this is still a really good performance. And I love you can hear like the Sinner and the Piracy's No Party in the background. It just sounds really good. However, if I have any other problems with the song, I guess it does feel like it starts and stops a bit too much, which is unfortunately a slight shame, which is why I'm only giving the song a middle A tier, which is unfortunately a shame because I do like this song, but I don't think it could be any higher than where it is, unfortunately.
What the fuck is that thing? Die, motherfucker.
Ew. Overdue Old is really, really bad. I have barely anything positive about this song, so let's start with my negatives this time. First off, I hate Mr. L's vocals. They just sound so poor. This is not a Luigi. This is literally torture on my eardrums. And I also don't really like Pico's performance either. I actually don't like the fact that he's freestyling here. It actually just feels very messy and sloppy. It feels like it's just going too fast and frantic. And I really do not like this fact. I guess the instrumental is tolerable, but that's kind of it. And again, the melodies are really bad coming from both sides. Yeah. And the fact that there's a lack of Mario and anything really good, to be honest, F tier. Not quite G because the instrumental is serviceable, but that's like it. Oh boy. Timeout is the old version of Demise, and yeah, I'm really not a huge fan of this song. It feels like if you took Demise, weakened its chase theme by literally so much it bugs me, and you just cut out so many good parts and just feel like it made everything weaker. That's really what Timeout feels to me. But there is some things about this song I do somewhat enjoy. Again, I do quite like MX's chromatic, and even though quite a bit of the melodies are weaker, they're still okay, and I guess I do like the instrumental at parts, but this just feels like if you took Demise, but you cut out so many good parts, and what you didn't cut out was weakened so much, and most of the new, or should I say, older melodies really don't sound great. Yeah, another C tier. If you can tell, I'm not huge on these older songs for the most part. All Stars Act 1 Old is the last of the old songs, and okay, I'm not a huge fan of this song, or phase, to be honest. I want to address my biggest problems. First off, it feels like a constant duet between these three, and that's really annoying because it really bugs me on so many levels. Most of the fact that you can't even really hear Ultra M at so many parts. You can hear him, but he's just really quiet. And I'm also not huge on how Boyfriend sounds. Although, to play devil's advocate, I do love the instrumental. It's a lot better than Act 1's current instrumental, and I do still really like how Girlfriend sounds. And although the duets are kind of just all over the place, they're not necessarily awful, and whenever they're not doing it, sounds actually really good. So, C tier, but a very high C tier. And with the old songs out of the way, all we have remaining are the top two. And these top two, let me tell you, this was so incredibly difficult. Usually whenever I have an FNF list for a mod I want to rank, I usually finalize the list beforehand. Maybe some things will change around like very last second, but for the most part, things will stay where they at most of the time. But these top two switched places so many times when I was recording this video. It took so long to figure out which one I liked more, and I bet you a week after this video is done, these top two will have switched again. But for right now, this is my number one, and this is my number two. Okay, everybody, put away the tanks, and the grenades, and the rocket launchers, because you guys know what's in first. But let me just say something. I still love Starman Slaughter so freaking much. But I do have a small confession to make. This song and my current number 1 have both dropped from top 10 FNF, and that's not necessarily their fault. Well, it's partially Starman Slaughter's fault. This one slightly got weaker for me, like just barely got slightly weaker, but it did fall off. Granted, I still love almost everything about this song. For starters, I love Horror Mario's chromatic here. It just sounds so freaking ominous, and it's so damn good. And then John D. Yes, I'm calling him John D. I'm not calling him by his full name. Don't ask me to. So D's trumpet rocks. I used to play a trumpet back in band in my middle school days, and let me just say, I love how trumpets sound. A bit of an odd choice for a rock song, but personally, I'm not complaining in the slightest because it still sounds absolutely freaking good. And the instrumental just pops off. I love the rock vibe of it. It just is perfect and flawless. The only instrumentals that I can think of are maybe better that are rock themed are Flavorscape from Flavor Rave and Rage Party from Infernal Bout. That is how good this instrumental is. And then a POW block is hit, Mario Falls, and Peach.exe and Yoshi.exe come in, and they just sound so good. I love how Peach's vocals are used here, and I also love Yoshi's. I actually think Yoshi's are better than Peach's nowadays. And the melodies are so good. I love that Yoshi is the backing vocal for Peach, and I just think that's super cool. It kind of reminds me of Boondoggle from Indie Cross, but to a much greater detail. And then something cuts right through Peach, a cleaver thrown at Yoshi's nose, and Mario jumps right back up, and he is ready to end this song. He just sounds so good. I know I said Devil Mario's chromatic was the best in the mod, but this is also up there on that same level of goodness. And this final ending phase still pops off. Granted, it does not hit nearly as hard as I think it once did, which is unfortunately why I am not ranking the song in first anymore. That is the only reason. But still, this song is perfect. It is incredible, and I love it to pieces. But sadly, there was one song, unless that was T, that barely beat it out.
Going swimming today?
I wasn't planning on it. Ladybugs aren't exactly cut out for deep sea diving, you know.
Neo's 16th place. AdMax 24th place. Kelpart's 25th place. And y'all headers last place. So much hate for Thalassophobia. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen a YouTube ranking that has Thalassophobia in the upper half of its rankings. And here I am, putting it in first place. And no, I will not take it back. And no, this is not rage bait. Remember, I'm the guy who put Crucify Yuri Mix in first place. Don't question my wacky hot takes. But yeah, this song is genuinely perfection. For one, Luigi's vocals are genuinely flawless. They really sound like he's drowning underwater, and they have a distorted feeling to them that not a lot of Ella's real chromatics have, and I think that's actually pretty cool. But that is nothing compared to the instrumental. This is one of the best instrumentals I've ever heard in my life. It gives this feeling that you've lost, but at the same time, you want to win, if that makes sense, because Luigi's been trapped underwater for how many years, waiting for someone to save him from his watery grave, and Boyfriend knows that maybe there's a chance that he can save him. Maybe he can save this poor soul trapped underwater, but he knows that he can't right now. There's nothing he can do, and that is just the perfect way to describe this song's instrumental. And the melodies are incredibly melancholy as well. I just love every single melody in this song, and while they are the weakest section, I don't really have a problem with that, because again, they all sound incredible. And before you all say, oh, but they're using Boyfriend's old vocals, or oh, Drowning is better. First of all, I don't care to use his old vocals. They sound good. And two, no, Drowning is not better. Drowning is pretty boring, and it's not gotten better for me at all. So yeah, I adore Thalassophobia. If you hate this song, I could see that. I really could. But for me, this song is beautiful, and I have no regrets putting it in first place. Again, if you hate this song, completely understandable. But this song is just perfection incarnate the whole way through. And with that, we have completed Mario's Madness Re-Ranked. I've been wanting to come back to this video for so long, but I never knew when the perfect time was gonna be. So, I have to thank you, Indie Skits. Your birthday was coming up, and you requested this, and I figured there was no better time than right now to cover this mod again. This mod means so much to me. It's not my favorite FNF mod out there. No, Doki Doki Takeover is still the king, but this mod is beautiful. To its chilling story, its beautiful artwork, except on some of the hands, and its incredible OST. Now, with that being said, here are my 4 tier lists. The V1 songs, the V2 songs, all 41 songs, and the base 35 songs. Now, I just want to say something. I remember when I first started this whole ranking video, back when the base Mario's Madness. It was so choppy and so bad, and I was worried I could never make a good video after that. And I was scared, but I kept pushing, and I pushed out videos, and I knew every time I did, I was improving. And I'm happy that this is what we ended Chapter 2 off with. And now, what's upcoming for Chapter 2? You're probably asking. Well, I actually have a few mods planned that I'm going to start off with. I don't know in what order I'm going to start off with exactly, but I will tell you the first 3 mods I will be ranking. Soft V2, Flavor Rave, and YouTube Poop Invasion. Those are the 3 that I will be starting off with. Again, I don't know exactly which order I'm going to start off with, but those will be the first 3. And with that out of the way, this is my last time logging off as Sailor Mercury, and I'll see you in Chapter 2. Have a good day, everyone.